Welcome to day 18 of the 44-day trip around Australia. And this stop here on Vanderlin Island represents a slight deviation from the original plan, but there is a good reason. The Goebel and McIntyre were originally on Thursday Island, as I've said, for 6 days, and then made a dash straight across towards Darwin, stopping at Elcho Island. Now, I could have stayed there for that time and done the same thing, but I also wanted to fly the entire coast of Australia and follow the beach. Part of the reason for that is it's gorgeous. The scenery is stunning. I was lucky to fly over this coast back in 2015 on my way to London in the Sea Ray and stopped here to see my brother, but also saw some of the most incredible sights and took this photo, which will still be probably one of my favourite photos of that entire trip, taken on day 3. But yeah, here we are on Vanderlin Island. Now, my brother lives here with his wife Amanda and their kids, and it is a very interesting existence they have here. It is, on one hand, Robinson Crusoe adventure. On the other hand, it is just plain hard work. But this setting is pretty special. It's about half tide now, so once that tide comes in a little bit more, I'm going to get going today to go to Elcho Island. But this is only the third time I've managed to visit Chris in the plane, and I really wanted to just share a little bit of that with you because while it has nothing to do with the Goebel and McIntyre flight, in the circumnavigation of Australia, this is a place that is unique and definitely special. So, yeah, Chris and the family have lived here now. Geez, it must be nearly 20 years Chris has been here. Amanda was born here. Her father was born here. There's an array of buildings from the house that Chris built with the help of the kids through to the house that Amanda grew up in with her father behind us. And part of what makes it incredible is this is kind of stating the obvious, but every piece of building material has had to be delivered here either on a barge, but most of it on Chris's fishing boat, with 6 meter lengths of steel sticking out the back in the water. It's just amazing the tenacity that they've shown to build their family home here. Bryson's here, about 11 years old, doing School of the Air, so he's in there at the moment doing school every day. Peter's off working on a fishing trawler, which I'm hoping to find today on my way up to Pass Cove. And Casey's actually at school in Melbourne as part of the Fantastic Myths program. Amanda's actually in Darwin at the moment because she's about to have another baby, and they wanted to get her up Darwin a month before that the baby was due. And she's got young Christopher with her as well. It's a big island, and the family are the only people living here now. There's a couple of other bases around that people will come and stay. Other locals who maybe live on the mainland will come and have holidays here. But we're on the northern point of Vanderlin Island. It's a gorgeous cove, which you will have seen from the aerial footage. And the approach to the island is quite spectacular. I was flying along the coast of the Gulf and turned up sort of at right angles just to come to the southern tip. The eastern side of the island takes the brunt of the weather and is quite brutal and stark, with rocks in the water, little sandy coves, but you can see it's been battered over the years by the weather. Whereas you come around this tip, and because the eastern side of the island is fairly protected, you have these just amazing fine white sandy beaches. And, they keep a boat in the water all the time. The kids after school regularly go fishing. On my last trip where I brought my son Tim up, which he still talks about all the time. We went mud crabbing one night. And I love how around the family dinner table, literally about halfway through dinner, the conversation becomes, so what do we have for dinner tomorrow night? And it's like, mud crab? Yeah, okay, mud crab. And so as soon as the school lessons are finished, it's on the Argo and out into the mud flats to get some crabs, or the following day it would be, well, let's have barramundi tonight. And sure enough, you go around the point and there's barramundi biting. So it's a very plentiful sea here. It's a huge island, and just going across to where, for instance, in the middle, there's an area where to harvest the flagstones they need for flooring, there's a rocky area, so they're able to go and get rocks that are pretty much flat and ready to go. But that's quite an arduous process. In fact, you can see The cyclone that came through just over a month ago caused a lot of damage. So one of the old buildings was literally ripped apart. The tide came in over the rock wall that's been built over the last 8 years and just made a mockery of it, quite frankly, washing away the floor out of their accommodation down by the beach. And now just months and months of work ahead to repair it. So you can see here, Chris is he's pretty adept. He's a plumber by trade, but he's been up here a long time and he's very good at solving problems. And but to see just the work that he's doing. I mean, the best I could do yesterday was I spent a fair bit of the day just breaking up the old stones and removing the mortar so that they were in a nice pile ready for him to do it. But I wouldn't like to be doing that tiling job. Uh, they because of the cyclones, they did actually build themselves a cyclone shelter, and I just love the genius of this. So it's a boat. He got a boat and built a shed around it and put it up in the sand dunes so that if the weather's coming, they're inside a boat, inside a shed, completely surrounded by sand dunes where they're about as safe as they can be, with a diesel generator, water being collected off the roof. So they can actually survive there for quite a while. And look, and the cyclones come through, it's all over in a day or two. So it, but again, just problem solving and using the materials at hand to make it work. But touring around the island is quite fascinating. There's sandy areas, there's rocky areas. Last time I was here, the kids took us for a walk through some caves and told us stories of the island, and it's really moving and amazing to be here. I will be doing a story about this island for Australian Geographic and what it's like living here on the island. That'll come a bit later. But for today, shortly I'll be heading off to Elcho Island, which is where Goebel and McIntyre landed on this day 100 years ago. You're hearing that a fair bit, aren't you? And uh, the, I'm lucky there was weather around Gove this morning. It's moving out into the middle of the Gulf. So in about an hour, hour and a half, I'll get going from here. But following the coast, it's about 4 hours. And once I get up past Groot Island and into that Gove area, that's where the coastline is going to be stunning with lots of islands and lots of craggy little bays. And I really look forward to sharing that with you. So that's pretty much a wrap from me from here on Vanderlin Island, day 18, and we'll catch you soon. Cheerio.